Hello, greetings, and welcome back to the Soul Citizens. I am GriffinGamingRPG, and today is Sunday, March the 1st, and it is our 6th year anniversary. And we are here with believe it or not, almost the whole team. We're just missing one person that we're missing. We've got some old faces and some new faces, and we are excited to be here with you guys as we kick up our anniversary. And thank you for being here to celebrate with us. Who was that who dropped that? I don't even see who did that. Who did that? I heard James Brown.
I was AbdiYohan.
Was it Abdi? Oh my God. Okay, there he goes. Okay, thank you, Abdi. Thank you so much. And Thracazox, thank you guys both so much. We appreciate kicking us off already. I didn't change the thing at the top from February to March, so I have to do that while the show's going on. But
we got some old faces, some new faces.
Yeah,
I said we got some old faces, some new faces, and some VR faces.
And some VR faces.
Black history is every day, by the way.
That's right. That's right. And thank you for saying that. I was going to say we've just come out of what is in the United States considered Black History Month, but you're seeing Black history on the screen today. We have just a great amount of talent and experience and people who have had a passion for this project, for Star Citizen, and of course this year, hopefully Squadron 42. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later too. But real quick, I just want to give some hellos to everybody. I'm going to go around the circle as fast as I can. Abdi. It is Abdi, y'all, not Abdi. So those of us in this United States, change that A to a U. AbdiYohan. Abdi, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing all right. I'm happy to be here. It's been a while, but I'm here. I have another kid now. So
yes.
Yes,
4 months,
so
right?
She's 4 months old, and I'm actually just going on paternity leave now. So she and I are going to play a lot of Star Citizen. I'm just kidding. I'm happy to be here. I'm seriously happy to be here.
We're happy to have you here with us as well. Next up on the line, one of our new faces, Bando Calrissian. Bando, how the heck are you, my friend?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here. 6th anniversary. It's amazing.
How long have you been around, Bando? Because you're new here on screen, but you've been around for a little while. How long have you been around?
I think I've been around for at least 3 years.
Wow. Okay. All right. So you've been around half the time. You're a veteran. You're half of a dinosaur. Okay. Well, we're happy to have you here as usual. This is your second show, so you feel more comfortable this week, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
just
good.
Talking to friends.
Good. All right, good. All right, another new face that has joined us. Another name that's been around the community for a long time. Black Intellect. How are you, my friend?
I'm okay. I'm hanging in there. We're getting some melting snow here in New York, but I'm doing good.
Good.
Abdi, leave that woman alone, please, and play more Star Citizen.
Not Abdi. He's got those little women in his house. He's got to take care of. So
exactly.
I know. And also from the East Coast, the one and the only Captain Jones. How are you?
Doing well. Welcome all soul friends. Happy to be here. Glad we're here for our 6th and waiting for another 6 more.
Yeah, Captain Jones, you used to be like the new guy on the block, but that's all gone now. You got some underlings under you now, so you don't have to hold that title anymore.
Let the hazing begin.
Okay. And again, another new face to our group, ccCreator. CC, how are you, my friend?
Doing well. Happy to be here.
Yeah, y'all, he got that busted up voice because he was at the NAACP Awards last night partying until 3-4 o'clock in the morning. So so that's why he's sounding kind of, look how you see kind of leaning over a little bit. He gonna do like this in a little while, just fall over in a little bit. But I appreciate you being here.
Absolutely.
All right. And one of our other co-producers who's been around just as long as I have, FC Fastcart. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing well, thank you. I still say today is February 29th. Nobody can tell me anything different.
Oh, okay. All right. That's true.
Happy Black History.
There you go. Push one more day into it. Nothing wrong with that. All right. And the man from down in ATL, the one and only, as you can see, he's still, as he promised us, he's not taking it off his head. GomabATL. How you doing, buddy? We can't hear you. You must be muted on your
Can't hear
end.
you.
Yeah.
This ain't Black History Month no more. It's Black History Life.
There you go.
And
Okay.
and you know what I'm saying? That's the reality, even though it's virtual. You know what I'm saying? You're picking up what I'm putting down.
Oh Lord. At least he can see where his mute button was with that thing on his head, I guess. All right.
Oh, I can see everything, baby. This is real life. Pass through.
Okay, moving on.
I cannot imagine meeting someone like that walking down the street, but it's going to happen one day.
I know. Moving on, the one and the only who holds us down, JadeStarwatcher. Jade, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Sunny Seattle hasn't had a flake of snow
Oh,
all
there you
winter.
go. All winter you got. Oh, the whole winter? Are you serious?
Yeah, we're calling it the year without winter because it's been like
Oh
sunny. It's
my
been
God.
uncharacteristically
That's because
sunny.
we've been sending it all over the Black Intellect and Captain Jones because it's been mild here in Chicago too. So yeah, let them have it. They can have it all. Well, happy to have you with us, Jade. Always good to have your voice with us. And next up, from the Caribbean himself. This is a face that took a little leave from us for a little while, along with Jay, because he was studying and finishing up some real life educational pursuits that he was in. But he's back with us today. Kalrati, how are you?
Hey, what you seen, lovely people? It is good to be back. And yeah, I actually survived that whole trek. So soon to be completed. So in like 1 to 2 months.
Almost done.
Dr. Kalrati?
Awesome.
Very soon.
That is awesome. Congrats. My daughter's finishing up in May. She delivered her 35th baby. She had 35 babies she had delivered between September and May, and she finished the last one last week. So she's cruising at this point. So yeah, that's great. I had 2 celebrations, yours and hers. Excellent. That's awesome, dude. You're gonna knock it out the park. Awesome.
Yeah, right.
Awesome. And speaking of education, we have one of our school teachers right there above Kalrati, the one and the only Kelosal. How are you, my friend?
It's good to be back on this wonderful wannabe February 29th, but another Black History Day, and every day is Black History Day. So happy Black History Day to you guys, and Black History Month every month.
All right.
But it's good to be back. Yep. And just busy. But other than that, I can say one thing about Florida though. It's the first time we haven't had a hurricane season in over 40 years.
Wow. Wow. That's good then.
Right.
That's good. First time. That's scary. Because yeah, I thought you all going to get it this year, but that's good. Yeah, you ain't got no insurance. That's good. All right. And our other new face that has joined us as well, Monarkie. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. Really excited to be here. I haven't seen nearly as much as the rest of the crew, but I've enjoyed my time so far, and I'm thrilled to be here.
Okay, well, we are happy to have you here. And last but not least, our other co-producer, the one and the only SeriousFun. Last but not least, how are you, friend?
I'm good. I'm not going to hold it up. Let's get to it.
You sporting that old RSI shirt. That's all you got to say, right? I know. That's all you trying to say.
Image is 1,000 words, sir.
What did you say, fastcart?
How are you, Griffin?
I'm okay. I'm coming down off of a week of COVID, and a whole bunch of other stuff that I don't even want to get into. But I'm happy because you guys are here, so I'm okay. Thank you for asking, fastcart. Okay, well, as you guys know, we started a little late today. We are already almost 30 minutes into the show, so we're going to try and crunch as much stuff as we can within the next 30 minutes. And because there are 12, 13 voices on the screen, you'll hear from some of us, not all of us, on some of the topics that we're covering for This Week in Star Citizen. But again, we want to say thank you to all of you who are here with us to help us celebrate our 60th-year anniversary. And we are doing some giveaways, compliments of Cloud Imperium Games. This is actually the first time that and believe me, this is not their fault. This is the first time that we've had giveaways that were sponsored by Cloud Imperium for many years. Matter of fact, for all these years, you guys have been the source for us to do all of our giveaways, and we don't want to just let that go because it's so people just automatically assume, oh, they're getting these from Cloud Imperium. Fastcart suggested this year, said, we never really asked them for anything. Should we do it? And I was like, yeah. And they said, okay, sure. So we've got some cool giveaways for you guys, and we've also got a couple other things we're going to do too later on in the show. So stick around for that. Okay. Envoy, thank you so much for that resub. Really appreciate you being here. The Prisoner, thank you as well. You guys have made us hit a 15 streak already. Thank you so much for that. Kelosal, thank you for the community gifts that you gave out 5. And SeriousFun Games just gave out 8 community subs. You guys, thank you. You guys are helping us celebrate this 6th year in a very, very cool way. All right, gang, as SeriousFun said, let's get into it because I could be sitting up here talking forever. This week, Star Citizen, CIG, did something that they talked about they were going to do. They implemented a couple things. Captain Jones, thank you for the 5. We're in the hype train. Thank you so much, Captain Jones, for those. CIG last year announced that they were going to start doing these ship sales. They also talked about they were going to do in-game ship sales, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. So they had this thing called Celebration, and they basically highlighted certain ships out of the Origin line that they put on sale. Oh my God, Shimpasta, thank you for the 10 community subs. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Y'all show some love to these folks that are giving out all these gifted subs. Thank you. Any thoughts? Anybody? How are your feelings about this? I'm saying this particular sale. I'm going to say this particular sale. Now, before I say this, I'm going to throw this in your head. I've been hearing two different things from the community. Some people are saying, oh, they're just money grabbing. Then there's another group of people who've also been saying CIG should stop having this like buy your ships once a year thing. They should just put ships on sale all the time. So I feel like it's kind of like betwixt and between. One group of people that want them to put ships out there, and another group of people that when they do put ships out there, it's a money grift thing. So give me your thoughts either on that or the fact that what they did with this presentation regarding Origin. And don't worry, you won't offend me because y'all know I'm an Origin fan. Anybody want to jump in? I don't care who it is. Y'all, whoever wants to jump in, just jump in.
The only people that have a problem with it are the ones that already have the ships they own and they want to feel exclusive and gatekeep it from everybody else. That is the end of my TED Talk. Thank you very much.
I was about to say that means they're doing something right.
Yeah, I mean, like, I just from another angle, I don't want to pay a monthly subscription to play the game. So any way that they, any way responsibly and ethically that they can make money, that's cool with me. And you never know when someone's jumping on the Star Citizen train. You want those people to have an opportunity to get a package, maybe at a discount. If they jumped in maybe last month or a year ago or whatever, and now they have the resources to be able to jump in. So I don't know, works for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I was ever upset about any ship other than the fact that like I couldn't buy it. So if there was one I wanted, I couldn't get it. Right. So if they're doing periodic sales, it actually puts me in a position to get things that I actually wanted. And so I'm not really sure why people would be upset. Like that, kind of like everyone else, I don't want to pay a subscription. I absolutely am sick of that. So hey, if I gotta fork out for another ship and it's a cool ship that I actually want, yeah, I'm gonna buy that ship because I'd rather throw them that money that way and continue playing the game than to have to fork out every single month for a subscription because I absolutely don't want to do that either.
Yeah,
I would mildly peeve because at the beginning of the week, and this week in Star Citizen, they're saying they have a special Origin sale. I'm paraphrasing, but the way they hyped it, it seemed like it's going to be more than it was. Yeah. So when it actually came out, it was like, this is it? What's going on? It's just the 600i, 890, and the 400i. What's special about that?
Yeah.
And there wasn't even anything about the 600 rework. Yeah. So I think people had higher expectations than what CIG set, and that's what.
Why you have to bring that up, fastcart?
Good trigger warning. Trigger warning. So let me but on fastcart's point, let me throw this out to you guys as a point of observation, and real quickly you can give me your feedback on it. It was interesting to fastcart's point that this was not a complete Origin sale. There were only certain ships that they sold. Historically, there are ships that they call a series. One of them is the 100 series with the 100, 135, and 125. And then there's the 300 series, 300, 315, 325, 350. But they decided to market this as the 800 series, the 400 series, and the 600s. Now, admittedly, there are 2 600 ships, but there's only one 890 and there's only one 400. And as we know, Disco mentioned at the SCL that there is a new Origin unannounced ship, not the G12, coming out within the next 3 months, which probably means the May drop, 4.8. Do you think that next ship will be a part of the 800 series or 400 series or a completely different thing? Anybody?
It needs to be a 400 series.
Like a touring ship version of the other, like the other ones, Explorer, maybe a touring like they did with the 600. You mean Kelosal, or something different?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like these ships are exploration ships. I would find it very, very hard if they put out another 800 series. That's a large ship. and a lot to work in there. So, how much time do they have to make another ship? I don't know of that size. But dealing with it seems like the 400 would be the most reasonable size ship to go ahead and make another variant of.
Okay.
Within a short time period. So you make a good case in suggesting that they could be making variants with these 3 ships in particular, hopefully the 400 more so than the 6 or the 8.
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
Jade.
Sorry, go ahead, Jade.
Yeah. So as the only Origin fangirl on this panel, I think it's unlikely that it's another ship in those series. I think they just called it series because all those numbers are series. One of the things from the lore is that the ship that put Origin on the map in lore was the 200 series.
Yep.
Right? And I'm thinking they could pull a Zeus.
A new, they may do a new,
like a 200 series Mark II or something, where they bring back an old ship, from their lore.
Yep.
And like give it the, standards of today.
Yep.
That would be my hope.
Yep.
But there's also another gap. We don't have a 500.
500.
Something.
Yep. Yep, good points. We talked about this. Well, you weren't around, but a couple days ago when I was working on this, and one of the comments that came up was, remember, Jade, when we were looking at the 400 back in the day, we were wondering if it was going to be some type of like executive transport kind of thing, and there's something that would come out to compete with like the E1 that lands in that category. But again, that would be like a 200 500 series. But again, I think your point is well made. It could be one of the new numbers that they haven't touched yet, and it could be that. Was it Gomab who was going to jump in? No, it was Sirius. Sirius is going to jump in.
Yeah, my prediction is it's going to be the 430i, and it will be a data runner, and data running with the Herald, the MSR, and the 430i as a feature will come into the game.
Okay. Just blaspheming against my luxury, but okay, I'll take that.
Can I touch on one thing real quick that fastcart pointed out? Also, as an Origin fan, this felt very underwhelming. So I agree with fastcart, but also in terms of planning, if you were already front selling that there was going to be another Origin ship on the way, then why not do the Origin sale to celebrate the launch of that ship as opposed to doing it now and then still having to wait for an Origin ship? Like it just seemed like there was cart before the horse. And then so when you get to this and it's not even the entire line, it's like, well, I love Origin, but this is like, it's like either you didn't care or you didn't think we would care because this doesn't do it for us.
Yeah. Or they didn't think about it. Or they didn't think about it.
And yet 22% increase February on February.
Yeah.
Sales.
One of the comments.
I was going to get to that.
Yeah. One of the comments I was going to put down is that they almost sold $500,000 on that day. Regardless of what people felt about it, the numbers don't lie. And I know there were a lot of people who were, and listen, I understand some of the arguments, some of the ships that are in this line, and y'all know me, big Origin, a lot of those ships, the career's not there, touring's not there, the exploration sides aren't there. Why sell a ship, many of whom who still are waiting for their upgrade, like the 600 and other things. But again, there are plenty of people, and I think this is one of the issues. I think Gomab said it. Those of us who've been around a long time have a different attitude than people who've come in within the last 1 or 2 years. And I wouldn't think that people would spend the money like that. But I looked at the freaking 600 eyes, because they put it on the schedule. Those things flew out the window. People bought them. So the numbers don't lie, regardless of how we feel about it. $500,000 was sold that day in Origin ships.
And they're only on sale for like 48 hours, like not even 3 days. They were there on Tuesday and gone on Thursday.
Yeah. So okay, we're gonna move on. Go ahead, Kalrati. What are you gonna say?
Yeah, I was just going to say, so is it possible that they would have looked at their stats and see that, okay, there may have been a bunch of people that are using or cooperating with, some of these Origin ships, and they're thinking, okay, there's a demand, and these people may not actually have these ships. Advertise it to see what it's like, even though,
Kalrati, do me a favor, speak up just a little bit because your mic is clipping on us. But what you basically said was basically, did their analytics and their numbers tell us that there were people who were wanting these ships, that they could look at the numbers and see usage, and that could be a factor too. But I agree with Monarkie. It almost seems like it would have made more sense to do it with the launch of a new Origin ship and at that time. But again. Y'all know sometimes marketing be spot on, then every once in a while marketing does something a little off, so I guess we'll have to see what happens. But that's a good point, Kalrati. Okay, let's jump into this next thing here real quick. I know a lot of you, many of the people on our team are part of Evocati, and even if you aren't, we get to see Evocati notes. We get to talk to people, and they get to talk to us about what's happening with this new update, which is expected in March, and that is 4.7. And the two highlights that are really standing out there for a lot of people, even though there's more coming, are crafting and the inventory rework. Real quick, anybody just want to give some feedback? How do you feel the progress is going? If you're Evocati, just say, do you feel like this version, when it was separate versus the combined version, are you seeing progress? And if you would tell us like how far you think they're there, do you think they're 80% there, 70% there, 100% there?
So one thing I actually have to say that isn't currently being tested is something called ground loot. And one thing I actually commend CIG on is the blending between they're not straying away from immersion, but they're trying to encourage that flow of gameplay. Because if you guys remember, and we still have it as well, grab your hands, the animation of having to pick up, singular things again and again and again and again and again. Mm-hmm. But the rework and what it's introducing now is something that encourages smoother flow for even the mundane things. And that's a feature that I'm really looking forward to. In terms of the crafting, I think a lot of people are enjoying it. I'm very curious to see how things are going to go when it comes to the new planet gen technology and having to go out and get these resources. Mm-hmm. And to get the actual feel of exploration in terms of getting the resources that you need to craft whatever it is. And by extension, I'm very curious how the loot table is going to be in the future when this comes online in the public builds, because that is definitely, of course, going to keep updating. But in terms of the inventory rework, real quick, I think the majority of persons are enjoying it. It doesn't feel too cluttered, except for, I think, some stacking issues. Mm-hmm. And of course, we'll see how crafting multiple quality items kind of does clutter things in the inventory.
Yeah. Togi says something in the chat here that I was going to ask, so I'm going to ask it now because you guys can. Because I'm going to focus a little bit on something. The overall thing that I've been hearing about the new crafting and inventory is that it's a pleasant improvement, and for people who've been dealing with the old iterations of it, they feel like this is definitely a step forward. But the one thing that I've heard about that I was not that crazy about is the proximity of being able to loot. There's a part of me and many people in the community who want the interaction with lockers, with chests, and things of that nature. But to your point, Kalrati, I understand the fact of trying to find that way so that it doesn't feel cumbersome. From my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, I heard that the distance or the radius for when you want to loot or search is 3.5 meters. We're talking, okay, so it's decent size. So if I'm in my cabin on my ship and I want to walk into my cabin, there's options, right? And CIG always wants to give us options. I should be able to walk up to my locker and open the locker. The other option may be kind of like the same way people do are to stop their ship, right? All I got to do is just stand in the middle of my room, hit loot, and I can see every one of my inventories. I don't like it, but there's the option. I don't have to use it. I can go to my locker if I want to, or if I want to hit the big button, I can do that. But when it comes to looting out in public, my question to you guys is, do you feel that impact is a negative or a positive, right? If you're in an area with multiple bodies, for example, and you and your friends are trying to loot, I don't know how that works. Do people get locked out like they do now, or can everybody kind of see what's there? Can one person go and clean everything out and then nobody sees it? In one fell swoop. What is the thoughts on that? Wall. What do you say, Calrati?
No, I was saying especially behind the wall, because one thing I wasn't able to observe testing, because I can't really test right now, was that in case, given that it's 3.2 meters or approximately that amount in terms of the proximity loot, I'm very curious for those who can test, is if you are behind a wall and there's loot, there's a wall behind you and between you and the loot, can you loot the
I heard
items
that you
behind
could.
the wall?
You can.
I heard that you could. Yeah.
And that
you can currently. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the upsetting thing, at least for this.
Yeah, and that leans to the part that I find a little discouraging with the proximity loot, because, like, take ASD for instance. When you're running around, sometimes you run across those boxes that had the special armor. You didn't even know the box was there. So there was a win there to find it, and you knew it was there, but somebody else didn't know it was there. So you get to it first and you find it. But if you can just do proximity and it really takes some of that exploration out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you've got an area that you're trying to lock down to keep other people from looting, you know, they just hide behind a wall or crawl under a floor and just grab it and keep moving. So I would like them to tweak that a little bit more. Maybe they can make the radius a little smaller. I know 3 meters isn't a lot, but maybe 1 meter. But I would like there to be a little bit more interaction and attention to you going in and looting things that are in the area.
I could see them making an edit to that though. That seems like something where it's like, oh, you know, just need to put up like a if wall there kind of thing. You know, can't go past that. So I don't know. I'm curious to see the evolution of that.
Yeah, and I think go ahead.
No, I was going to say I'm excited about salvage coming or crafting coming in because you know there's going to be an appreciation of the industrial player, right? Mining and salvage players by PvP players. In terms of inventory, like I know there's been some controversy about the you know, grabbing around you thing. I'm really interested to see what kind of improvements we get on the back end just from them cleaning up the old inventory system. You know, so
okay.
That's the best. That's
Feels
the
a
best.
lot snappier. Oh, sorry.
That's exactly what I was going to say. That is the best thing about the inventory. It still has a level of complexity that the other inventory had, and the UI is not naturally more intuitive. It isn't, but the back end does feel quicker, and that in and of itself is a material improvement for this tier of the implementation.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to see them get that in. The only other quick thing I'll say is I'm not a fan of materials out in the world when you're mining for crafting. Materials now going from being multiple minerals to being a single mineral.
I was just about to bring that up. Yeah, that's like an industrial citizen. I'm a little bit. I am curious to see how that feels, and I know that this is all in an effort to make things more, you know, open to kind of like, you know, keep people jumping into the resource game, because everyone's going to need to be crafting, and if everyone needs to be crafting, everyone needs to be able to, you know, mine and all that. But reducing some of the complexity behind mining is going to be. We're gonna have to see how it feels, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna miss having multiple resources in one rock. That's gonna. I mean, it was kind of a fun thing to be able to, like, oh, you found your quantity, or you found a good, you know, this or that, and instead now you will be able to find clusters, and it will be convenient to see a cluster that has, you know, you find 6 rocks and all of them, you know, have gold. And I think they're doing some stuff to make it so, like, you know, what is the quality of each of those rocks? You know, that's but like, still, it is a different mining experience. And you know the red monsters and the regolith and all those people out there have been building up their training documents, and this is kind of an adjustment. So we'll have to see.
I'm glad you said it that way.
Of the simplification of the game, that, you know, they've moved away from realism over the last 5 years, and I'm disappointed. I'll just say that. I'll just leave it.
Well, I would say no. I don't think there's anything wrong with being disappointed. I think that this is still development. This is the hard part. What Abdi said. This same thing happened with Flight Model. It happens with everything. When something gets locked in for a while and we start to build on it, and there's the sense that this is the direction they're going, and then something changes. I think it's important that the community voice those disappointments, because to me, Abdi, I think I understand what they're trying to do, but again, they also are impacting a different level of gameplay. And I think that they need to find what balances that. I wouldn't mind going out to that area you mentioned, Abdi. That's a primary iron area, but there are also secondary elements that could be found randomly versus just exclusively iron, right? Because I'm an industry guy, so I do like the mix factor. And I will admit, there are times when you can go out for hours and hours and hours and not find something. I don't go for prime materials, so I don't look for prime materials. I mine every freaking thing. But there are some people who do mine specific minerals. But I think it's important for us industrialists, or if you're into the Flight Model, you need to voice it. Don't pout and stick your head in the sand. Go out there, like Jade said, express it and say, hey, you guys, this direction you're going, this is not, okay, you've got to find a better balance. We understand the fact that you've got to make this accessible, but you also cannot, and it's not because we've done all this history and developed all these websites to say it, but it's because it truly is having, for people who have a heart for industrial play, or whether it's mercenary or medical, then you need to voice it. And we always want to tell people that, voice it. Mm-hmm.
So, out of curiosity, have they said anything with regards to how this works with upcoming scanning? Because when they first introduced or talked about the streamlining of the mats per rock, my initial thought was that, okay, if they introduce scanning, it may create some complications, not just in front of the front end, but in terms of the programming, to be able to like separate.
Talk up, Kalrati. Talk up.
Oh yeah, in terms of being able to separate. Okay, let's say we do like a medium range scan, and in front of us we may have some kind of rocks, right?
Mm-hmm.
What may be the implications for us to be able to say, okay, does it make sense going over to that area to see what the composition of the rock is? And maybe, as a trade-off, they decided to simplify the composition of whatever mats are in those clusters to make the scanning work when we get it. But the thing is, we don't know how scanning.
We don't know how scanning is going to work. Yeah, it's one thing for me to scan a rock from a distance and see it's iron. One of the things I hated was that they forced you to go 300 meters in to see what was on a rock, right? So you can find like right now we can see type. If you go in and I might say at a certain range, it tells me there's iron over there. That's fine. I would like to know though, there's no guarantee that it's high yield iron, right? I might get over there, it's a whole bunch of rocks, but it's all 200%, 200, 300 rating, right? So if rarity is a factor in finding things, that could be an offset to balance it, right? So it's not like just because I find iron, that's great. If the iron sucks, it's not going to do me any good. Or maybe that sucky iron is just good for doing certain things, but there's other stuff that, like if it's, not to be funny, let's say it's something like repairing the wing on a ship. Maybe 200 grade iron is all you need. Doesn't make a difference if it's 600 or 800. But if you want to do a certain type of weapon type or attachment, it's more important to have 600 plus. I think that, like you said, we don't know where all those numbers are going to land and the importance of it in the scanning process. But I think that, like I said, I'm one of those miners who mines everything because I don't know if copper may suck in Stanton, but maybe over in freaking Terra, it's selling for 5 times that amount, right? So I mine everything. I don't go out and just say, oh, I'm just going to get quant or laranite. I freaking gather everything and store it. And when I can sell it, that's what I'm going to do.
Griff, I want to say one thing here. And this has been a consistent thing throughout all of Star Citizen, right? Every time they add a complexity or a layer of complexity or something, something has to give.
Right.
Either the performance of the back end, or they reduce complexity somewhere else. Right. Yeah. I mean, right now, mining, the number of variables in mining has not changed. It went from what different things going to be in the rock to what quality of the material is going to be in the rock. It just shifted to align better to the gameplay options. So I get it. Folks are saying, oh, I want it to be more realistic, but there's a trade-off to layering another variable that is essentially becomes an exponent to the number of chances of something spawning. And I don't, from a technical back end perspective, I understand why they did it that way, and I think they did the right call to align with the gameplay that they're pushing forward, which is crafting.
Yeah, but again, we'll have to see how these all, because crafting has never been a factor in that formula, right? So to your point, we're going to have to see how this marries, not just crafting. We don't know how that's going to marry into refining, because station refining is just the temporary thing, right? They want us as players to also have some impact there. So there may be some things that start to make sense as this comes together. Right now it seems kind of crazy and we don't get it, but we'll have to see. Okay, let me move forward. I'm sorry. Okay, QA audio team. I'm going to take real quick highlights from this, guys. SEL this week, they had the audio team on. They've come back and basically talked about the work that they're doing and work that they would like to continue to do. They spent a lot of time talking about the fact that they had to do a lot of going back and fixing things, but they also talked about the areas they talked a little bit about how they come up, with sounds and things like that, but they also talked about their ideas of what they want to be able to do in the future. Anybody got any highlight that stuck out from this show for them? Other than the lead guy's hair?
Yeah.
No, I wasn't going to mention that.
Rollbacks of expectations was what I took away from this show.
Okay.
The whole realistic audio mode that, they showed us at CitizenCon, and I'm starting to really wonder about getting hyped about Citizen Cons anymore because
Mhm.
we get shown this stuff, we get super hyped about it.
Mhm.
And then, 1, 2 years later, a team like this comes on and says, you know what? That's not our priority anymore.
Mhm.
Our priority now is to make sounds even more epic in space because we want to be more cinematic. And it's like deflating. But anyway,
Mhm.
there was that. There was also even within atmosphere, a lot of people had wanted, sonic booms and things like that, and they sort of walked that back a little bit.
Mhm.
So that was sort of what I took away from it.
Yeah. The sonic boom thing that has been going on for years, right? And I'm gonna be honest with you, Jade. It's a cool thing, but if they put it in the game, it'd be there for that day. But ooh, they got sonic booms, and then nobody would care anymore.
Next.
They wouldn't care anymore for the amount of energy it would take. I'm talking about in the sense of an MMO space, right? For it to really impact people the way people dream that it would do. I know they like not you, but I know that the community has been saying forever, oh, we need to have sonic booms, blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, it'd be cool, but y'all ain't gonna care about sonic booms after it's put in. It's cool for that minute, and then after that, it's something else. So I agree with you though. There's some things that they do put out there and say that they want to do. And again, this is the problem too. And I know you're not saying this, but people will say CIG promised. CIG don't promise nothing. CIG states things that they would like to do. And that's how you have to take it. And after that, it's like, if we can accomplish it. Now, to Gomab's point, one of the reasons why things are taking so long is because of much of what they're doing. And if they don't put the time in, like one of the things they did say about this, is that there's some things we would like to do, but it's not going to happen now. And we hear that about everything in Star Citizen, right? There's some things we'd like to do, but later. Sometimes they do it. Sometimes it doesn't come into fruition. Sometimes we don't know if it ever will come into fruition. But I agree with you that there's a lot of stuff, especially in relation to audio and sound and space. I get into this whole thing about the space conversation with sound, and it just makes my head spin. Because there's a side of people that want realistic sounds in space. There are people who want cinematic sounds in space, some special effects sounds in space. Everybody has their thing about how they want space to sound to them. And so, like right now, I was in my ship yesterday flying in the rain, and outside it was pouring like crazy. Inside, I couldn't hear anything. And I'm like, well, it'd be kind of nice if I could hear on my windows, but I couldn't hear anything. We're going to say fastcart? I'm sorry.
The thing that got me most excited about that Citizen Con was they were giving us an option. It wasn't, this is what it's going to be for, for everybody. If you want it to be in realistic mode, you can select that. If you want
options,
it
the options for it.
Really sci-fi cinematic, you could do that. And
That's
it's
all
just,
for
I think more options is what people want.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
To Jay's point, I mean, some of us have actually heard sonic booms. Some of us have been around, space shows. I've been blessed to be in Florida, where I've seen shuttles left, right, and sideways, Endeavor, the Challenger, and things like that. And I've heard sonic booms a lot, and so it would be nice as far as on an immersive level to at least hear that. Maybe you could say, okay, we know a ship is coming because we hear the sonic booms and things like that and so forth. But there are people who do appreciate the quality and immersiveness of sonic booms. I don't think they should ignore it. Maybe something they should sneak in.
It's like re-entry trails, being able to see those.
Listen, y'all.
Right?
Listen. Y'all know the tax of these people flying in this game. They gonna shut them things below subsonic level and fly up to you, and you ain't gonna hear no boom. I'm telling you the truth. Nobody's gonna come flying up to you with a sonic boom. That give away. Why would they give themselves away?
They already have a fake sonic boom in the game. Like if you're at a bunker and somebody quantums in, you hear
that sound. Yeah, when the quantum thing.
If you're coming in off an atmosphere, off a stratosphere, you're gonna hear it. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean,
but
I'm just saying it's a fake. It's a fake sonic boom from right now that's in the game. It's not a real one that is based upon atmospheric pressure and speed and all that stuff.
Yeah,
but
I'm gonna
I think it's cool
a bit because
go ahead.
Because I think you're underestimating the people, especially our generation, who want to have that Top Gun moment, or that with the Iron Eagle moment, where they're in the atmosphere and they go fast enough to hit the sonic boom. You may feel like it may not be impressive to you, but for people who are looking for that dream, like I'm looking for that career moment when it comes to motorcycle. Other people may be looking for that Top Gun moment when it comes to spaceships. So I think you're underestimating how much people really want that, how effective that would be, especially like for new people coming in.
I'll tell you what I got out of that interview was that server meshing messed up the audio, and they're now having to go back and fix it. And they brought this guy on to fix it, and maybe in the meantime they'll try to do some new things. But basically, it did the same for audio that it did for missions. So that's what it seemed like the undercurrent was.
They talked about it. Yep. Okay.
And the other thing is the origin ship that they mentioned. They mentioned it during the CitizenCon, or not the CitizenCon, but the end of last year. They mentioned a bunch of manufacturers. The origin was one of them. So this is just refreshing our memory. The origin ship is coming in 2 or 3 months.
Okay. All right, I'm going to speed through this one real quick, gangs. This is public service announcement because we mention this all the time, but we never really elaborate on it. And it's the fact that Jump Point is available. And I would tell anyone, if you've never read Jump Point, I would tell you to take a look at it. If you're a subscriber, you automatically get access to it. If you're not a subscriber, ask somebody who is a subscriber if they could give you a copy of it. The reason why I'm telling you this, and the reason why this picture is on the screen, is because in Jump Point, they often show you what the evolution was to get to a certain ship. And in this particular case, it happens to be the Argo Moth. And they show the level of detail that they work on these ships. Now, when you're walking around these ships or flying it, you don't see all this. And if you don't read Jump Point, you really don't know the level of work that goes into it. But I want to show this because I think it's important. And again, I want to tell you guys to take a look at a Jump Point, because sometimes people wonder, why does it take so long for ships to get built? And if you start looking at these things, you start realizing the level of detail that they go into. And a lot of times you say, why are they putting all this detail into these ships? Well, for people who have VR right now, they can tell you why they're doing that level of detail. It seems like it's crazy, but there are reasons why that level of detail is in the game. So make sure you guys take a look at Jump Point. If you can check out the one for this month for the Argo Moth, feel free to do that. Okay. Let me jump to this next one for you guys. I'll let you guys do all the talking on this one. There were 2 interviews this week. Well, one was from last weekend. We actually, an atmosphere was going on. That was Atmo Esports. They started this, it wasn't started, but they went to Australia and held a big event there. And as their guests, they had Chris Roberts, Sandy Roberts, and Tyler Whitkin. And they did like a 40 minute roughly presentation with them, asking questions and talking with them. And they got to share some things and some feelings about both that event as well as Star Citizen. So let's touch on this first one. Anybody here get a chance to watch it? Was it just another conversation for you? Did you learn something new?
I think I watched Ray's guide.
Gomab.
The summary.
What'd you say, Gomab?
No, I think I watched the Ray's summary of it. I think
I watched it live, and one of the things that I thought was interesting was Sandy's reaction and looking at Tyler when Chris Roberts started talking about VR and Squadron 42. You could tell that it was something that they probably were going to announce, but the CEO took CEO privilege and announced that. But she could see her cut her eyes to Tyler like, I guess that's out now. Which I thought was funny.
We're going to have a meeting about this one.
Right. When Chris Roberts said you get to reach out and touch Gillian Anderson, but in an appropriate way, you saw Tyler say, you're live, right? But I think he was telling him that for both that and the Squadron 42 and VR stuff, like, yo, check yourself a little bit before you start talking release date, which was Crucian's first question that he was told he was just going to get a soon TM if he asked anyway. So,
right.
Other than that, I thought a lot of that was stuff we already knew. But those things were, I think, the reveals that we got, and it was interesting to hear that the focus would be on VR controllers potentially as well. Because if they get that in Squadron 42, then we can anticipate that coming to Star Citizen, and that might be a material change even to VR, even in its experimental mode. So it was for me, it was overall interesting to hear that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. On top of that, Kat, I'm going to have to watch Ready Player One, because Chris Roberts kept saying that the whole entire time when he was doing that presentation as well. I haven't watched it. I know so citizens have. I missed that moment. but I'm gonna have to watch it again to at least see if he's gonna sneak some things from that movie into the game. Dealing with
Alonso,
VR.
you're my age. You need to read the book. Read the book.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, reading the book would be preferable, but
all the references are for our age. In that book.
that's true. I gotta say, reading the book would be preferable, but if you don't have enough time, go ahead and watch the movie.
They got it on audiobook. They got it on
read
audio.
the book. Didn't know they had it.
Yeah. Okay.
To that
Anybody else?
point,
Go ahead.
though, when he mentioned the VR, it kind of surprised me because what I was thinking that they would do is they would focus on the full non-VR build and maybe to keep the name alive.
We're losing you, Kalrati. We're losing you.
Oh, yeah. So, what I was surprised when he mentioned it as it being part of the first release or the initial, the official release for Squadron 42, because given the complexity of the game, I was kind of hoping that they would do that as a follow-up update. So they would focus on the initial build, do a mass release. But when you mentioned it, I was excited, but I'm also nervous at the same time. So we'll see when they release the entire thing.
There have already been rumors or feelings that that there's a possibility that this is going to delay the game coming out. And I think that people are looking at this from the wrong lens or looking through the lens the wrong way. For those of us who have played VR in Star Citizen, I know you guys have heard people talking about VR. The VR experience is really amazing in Star Citizen, even in its experimental mode. But this is what I will tell you that has been CIG's general mantra, that the things that they work on in the persistent universe come from Squadron, not the other way around. It's usually Squadron first, then the persistent universe. I don't think this is a situation where Sylvan worked on VR for the persistent universe and now they're putting it in Squadron. I think they worked on it already. We did a show 2 weeks ago about VR and Star Citizen. 13 years ago, Chris was talking about VR. 13 years ago. This was not a new idea. They had it in the game at one point even where you could do VR at one point and they took it out because of the engine. But it has always been on his list to have VR. So I don't think this is like some new idea because they got it popping with Sylvan that they're like, oh, well, we can put that in Squadron. I think they've been wanting to put it in Squadron from the very beginning and that we're getting the byproduct of that. Now, that's the way they've operated historically. It could be the opposite, but it is much easier to put VR in the single player world than it is to put it in the MMO world. So
yeah,
that's my thoughts. Go, Mob. What are you going to say?
Yeah, unfortunately I wasn't able to be on that show, but look, Star Citizen, Squadron 42, the entire way you interact with this universe is a game that has been built for VR from the ground up.
Yep.
Right. For somebody who's played tons of VR games, the fact that you are experiencing the character's point of view from their eyeballs, not from some camera mounted on the front of their head, right?
Yep.
The way their arms and everything in the body is articulated separately from everything else. The way the game works now, the way the sights on the guns aren't just phoned in or fake. You're actually looking through the reticles to the sights. This game has been built for VR from the ground up. We are not that far away. All they needed, and one person, Sylvan, was able to go in and do some developing on his free time to turn it on in the engine, right? So the capability is already in the engine, and the XR runtimes are already built up and mature enough to support it. It's not that far away. All they have to do right now is do some tweakings with the interactions and some of the UI elements, right? The stuff like the inventory, right? That's all messed up in VR right now. Well, they're coming out with a whole new inventory. I bet you bottom dollar it's going to look great in VR when it comes out. So I wouldn't think we're that far away from it being a fully functioning game that looks like it was built for VR.
Yeah, and our point is that VR is not an afterthought. To Gomab's point, this had to be built into the game. They couldn't just up and decide to all of a sudden make Star Citizen VR. It had to be a part of its DNA from all this time they've been working in the engine, which is why they took it out when it was in CryEngine and changed over. Okay. Okay, let's talk about the second interview here. This was a part 2. There were 2 interviews, as I mentioned to you guys. Right afterward, Chris did another interview. This was just him by himself, talking about basically state of the game and where he wants to go with the game. Any thoughts on this one for those of you who got a chance to see this one?
I thought that this one is the first time I've heard him in a while where he was talking, and it seemed like he wasn't talking to the community. He was talking to people who have maybe read about Star Citizen tangentially. It didn't seem like this was for us, which is fine, but that tells me that they think they're getting a lot of new people that are taking a fresh look, and so that's a good thing.
Or maybe prepping for marketing.
You
know,
clearly what it is.
Yeah, they talked about
the next phase.
Yeah, they talked about they want to do a very short window with the marketing for Squadron 42. And to your point, the fact that Chris came out, he just did the interview the day before, but he came out and did this really kind of Chris Roberts one-on-one kind of thing. Was a different kind of interview. He hasn't done one of these in quite a while, to your point, Black and it's been a long time since he's done one of these. So yeah, like Kelosal said, this might be a step moving toward a different level of area of marketing, particularly to make people aware of Star Citizen, because he even talks about people's thoughts about Star Citizen from years ago, and he's inviting them now to come back and take a look at it. Anybody else?
Yeah, that part of it kind of stood out to me too, where he talked about the sentiments that people had about Star Citizen taking so long to develop and what all has went into that. That kind of candid talk I hadn't heard from him in a while, so I appreciated that out of this conversation as well.
Okay.
What I got from it was that they're self-aware of the kind of perception the Star Citizen have. I've always, well, not always wondered, but I wondered how they felt about the perception of like being scam and you had to buy a $15,000 ship or what have you. So it was good to hear Chris Roberts speak about that, even if he was smiling and joking about while he spoke. So I thought that was interesting. Also, it's still amazing. Well, we are all in this bubble, the Star Citizen Fund 42 bubble, where we almost eat, drink, live, we Star Citizen Fund 42. So whenever someone from outside of the community can hear about that, I think that's always good, good or bad. I mean, I prefer to hear good stuff, but I think this interview introduced more people who may not have heard of Chris Roberts or Star Citizen.
I don't want to belabor the point. I know we got things to talk about, but quick pulse check. We've all had that conversation with somebody new and have had to think twice about saying, just hold off. Star Citizen ain't ready for you yet. Like, let's see. How are people feeling now? It's been a while. And I'm like, I'm still telling people to just chill. Like it's got time.
Yeah.
I mean, if you stumble on it and you play it and you tell me, oh dude, I've been playing this game Star Citizen, isn't that what you play? I'll be like, oh cool, yeah, come join me, I'll do that. But I'm not about to recommend it to people because not because I don't want them to play and enjoy it. I just don't want to have to deal with belly aching when you're complaining about bugs.
I'm the flip side. I'm getting more people who are coming back and saying it's finally ready for me to play. That's what I'm hearing from people. Yes, there are probably some people that we know that shouldn't play it at this point because they just don't have the patience for it, and they're getting older and older. But what I'm hearing more now are the ones that were there at the beginning or have been around and now are seeing the game at the point to where they can play, and they're asking a lot of good questions about features and things that weren't available when they were around in the first place. I'm seeing a lot more of those people.
Yeah, I think
I kind of think I agree with what Gomab was saying. I kind of don't want to deal with people griping because like people just get back to griping. Like anytime anything goes wrong, the wow factor goes out the window and they go back to griping. And ultimately, I think the change for me is the pace of updates that has changed. So because the pace of updates has changed, it's a less I guess you could say, less stable experience. And I don't mean from the sense of bugs. I mean from the sense of things are changing so rapidly because they're adding things and putting new things in and changing the way things work, that I don't think we're at a time when I can be like, hey, come in, let's play this game, because people don't know what to expect from, week to week or month to month, because changes are happening so quickly. But that's why, not because I think they would have a bad experience. I just think it's not a consistent experience right now.
Okay.
My only issue with those people, Colosal's talking about the people who were there and coming back, and I am seeing more of those people, is they want you to sum up all the keybind changes in the last 7 years in chat in 2 sentences. That's the thing that gets me.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Every keybind,
the
every
complexity.
update, every mission update, how to do every mission.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
complexity.
go ahead and take a longer break. I'm cool with that.
Called Google and YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good question, Abdi, that you asked. Paul did a call-in show yesterday, and he asked this question about that: are they inviting people to play it? And I think that, and to Colosal's point, I've seen way more people who had bought the game a while ago who've come back to it now, and they feel like it's more playable for them at this point, and they're willing to put that time in. Is it that thing that you want to go tell everybody, hey, you need to play this new game? I'm not there yet. And you guys know, I think I've told you, I've only invited like ever 3 people to play this game while it's been in this state, and one of my dearest friends who's playing it now, she's in, and she has a background in gaming, so she's able to deal with and understand the toleration of where they are now. But the average gamer, I think it could still be a struggle for them. For us, it may feel like progress. For them, it still may feel, in comparison to games that are launched and that are working, they will still run into some frustrations, I think, if they come in and play it.
So let me ask you, Griff, this then, just Griff, not everybody, because I know we got to move on. How do you think about or what do you think about the dissonance of what we were just talking about with them wanting to market a brand new game, like talking about the already but not,
You mean as far as Squadron or this one?
Squadron. Like, how do you market a game
Squadron,
that is coming?
The thing that
when
they have,
the experience that they can have now isn't quite what you would say is maybe new player ready.
CIG has one good thing and one bad thing about Squadron. There are so many people who don't even know what Squadron 42 is, and they don't even know it's tied to Star Citizen. Star Citizen is its own monstrosity, and they have no idea of the connection. And to your point, the question becomes, when somebody does hear about Squadron and somebody says, oh, that's the same people that are doing Star Citizen. That's the thing that you got to wonder about, right? The people who do. But there are also a lot of people. I've been watching videos recently of people who playing Star Citizen who said they've never heard of it, who just recently have started playing it. So there's a lot of people.
I was going to say is
Go ahead,
February has a citizen increase of 78,000 new citizens. The best February in terms of new citizens that CIG has ever had, and I don't know many of them at all. Right, but what I have seen more and more on YouTube are people who are going, my first time with Star Citizen. I'm seeing more and more of those videos, right? And so I'm trying to go and pay attention to what are folks' experience like. And one of the things that Chris Roberts said this past weekend is they must improve the new player experience, right? And through that new player experience, they've got an opportunity to orient people to this universe in a way that connects them not only to Star Citizen, but to Squadron 42.
Yeah, Abdi, I think it's a good point. Now, mind you, there are some people who do know about Squadron and know about Star Citizen. And the first thing they're going to do is make that connection, and they're going to be very skeptical, right? Or pessimistic. But then there are a lot of people out there. Again, I think Fastcart's point is well made. We're in that bubble. You know what I mean? And it's so easy to forget that we're such a small percentage of gamers that there's so many people out there who don't know what Squadron 42 is. How CIG markets it, I mean, not to be funny, but you see how they market, Star Citizen, and it freaks people out in the sense of how good the marketing is. I'm curious to see what their marketing is going to look like for Squadron 42 and how people respond to it in the gaming community. And, there's rumors of, are they going to expand beyond PC to console? Console players eat up everything. So, it's going to be interesting to see. And let's hope, and my thing is, to your point, Abdi, Star Citizen's persistent universe needs to pull itself together because of that, right? Because if people have a grand experience in Squadron and then start hearing about Star Citizen, and it doesn't live up to some great expectation, and I'm assuming that that's assumption that Squadron's very good, right? If Squadron's very good, they're going to look for something,
It'll be a
on
gateway,
those
yeah.
lines, right? And if it's not, then that's not going to be good either. It's a good question.
Yeah.
Okay. Real quick, rapid fire on this one. See, as I started to show earlier, I said CIG said they were going to start doing these in-game ship sales, and this is the first one that they're doing. Of course, they started at the lower end of the level with RSI, and I'm just kidding.
Oh,
boo!
You mean Origin? That was a typo. It was supposed to be Origin.
20% off.
Good night, everybody.
Wow. Shots fired.
They started
I
high.
mean, they picked RSI because
they-
they knew that was the only ship people wanted to buy.
Yeah, well, they started high with Origin and worked their way down to. I'll say RSI is number 2. How's that? I'll put them as secondary then. But they give it 20% off for buying ships in game. What do you guys think? Do you think that people are going to, in the midst of the inflation that exists in the game right now, with people having billions in credits? Do you think this is going to?
I was going to say inflation, deflation. You mean?
Yeah, deflation. Yeah. What do you guys think? Do you think this is going to be something that players will look forward to? Is these ship sales and getting them in especially people who maybe don't have that money? Is this something that they're going to take advantage of?
Not until they fix the economy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it depends. Are these ships just going to be things that get wiped? Because if it's just going to get
stay
wiped,
persistent. No, they'll stay persistent. It's with AUEC.
Oh, that was the piece. Okay, that was the piece that I couldn't figure out, and I don't know if I just didn't read the right source. But for me, it was like, well, if it's not going to stay persistent, then I don't care if there's a ship sale in game. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I might be tempted to pick one oddball up, but I don't know that it's make or break for me either way, especially if it was subject to being wiped. But if it's persistent, okay, then I might have some reason to go take a look at a sale to see what's there and maybe grab something in game.
Let's be clear. When we say things will be persistent, that means if you put it away the right way, if your inventory goes from patch to patch the right way, and if they choose not to do a wipe, that's how it be.
True.
Yeah.
Let's put all of the caveats.
Asterisks abound.
Agreed.
Yeah, there's so many variables that like it's hard for me to get excited about an in-game ship sale. Like if we were talking 1.0, then yeah, let's talk about it because I know I'm going to throw something in my account. I'm gonna grind in game to get it, and I'm going to keep it. At this point, I just don't know what the end result is.
Okay, it's an interesting move.
Should be an expectation of a wipe every patch.
Yeah, there goes the Grinch starting up over there.
Oh, I'm looking for what I really wish that they would add is a way to sell ships you've bought.
Yes.
When you don't want
recently,
them
right?
Yeah, they did.
The STL was it the SCL or ISC?
Yeah.
No, the couple SCLs ago they were talking about wanting to do that. I don't know if that means that they will, but
even if it's at half, right? I mean, a lot of people. I know a lot of folks. I mean, that have run the exec hangars so many times. They literally have almost 20 of every exec hangar ship. Like, imagine having 20 Siulans in your freaking list. Why would you ever log in again? Just if you have to look at that crap, right? Just give us a way to pare that stuff down, even if you're taking pennies on the dollar. But for this ship sale, I think this is a response to the exploits that dumped a whole bunch of money into the game. They have said they don't want to do a quote unquote all-out wipe. I think they are working on ways, or they said they are working on ways to identify the money that has been duplicated and pull that out of the economy. But in the meantime, they're trying to find sinks any way they can to get people spending to get some of that air out of that balloon that has overinflated the amount of money that's just moving around in the game. It's just ridiculous. I mean, people are walking around with billions where they have to give it away because they can't repair their ship.
Well, the really cool part about that is coupled with what SeriousFun was talking about all these new people, is that's what they've been sinking their money into. They've been just giving millions away to these new players, which is great because they get to try things they couldn't have. Of course, it means there's a lot of wrecks in space because you got people flying high-powered military ships that literally just started playing the game.
Yeah.
All these people talking about walking out with billions. I'm still salty because I forgot to park my my raft that I bought with AUEC in the right hangar just before the pass, and I lost it. So hey, it goes both ways.
It gives
Good,
you another
Jade.
reason to play the game.
Yeah, it does. It does. You know how much
One of the
money?
things I want with the ship sales is I want them to coincide with something like in the game. Like
Mm-hmm.
Jumptown's coming up. The
Mm-hmm.
CDF is, partnered with our side to, make sure the Constellation Andromeda is available. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I want there to be more of a tie and not just a random, hey, here's a
Right.
ship sale in the game.
And Jay just hit on something I was going to say, and that was the fact that one, there's two things going on, that they would build this around that, and also there's also, don't forget, we're still testing. There's reasons why they're doing this beyond just doing it. They're going to see what participation is like, how many players do take advantage of it, which ships in particular will people be willing to go out and buy. All that's going to be a part of this. And I know, I think Monarkie said, this is AUEC, so it's not that significant. But from a testing standpoint and analytics side for them, there's going to be data that they pull from this. So it'll be interesting to see how many people do take advantage of this. I know Togi said he has bought all the ships in the game and he still has tons of money left over. Gomab, you said there are people who have multiples of the same ship and they've kept them in the game, which we'll talk about next week on our show called Are We Hungry or Thirsty? That'll be our topic for next week. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. Let's hit this last thing and we're going to go ahead and take our break. Our sneak peek. Anybody got any shots for this one? The title for it is Let's Get to Work.
Still looks like rock cracking to me.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Are we feeling like Knicks? Is that what we're hearing? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It's almost Kumo D. Almost Kumo D.
They could have just said, let's get it cracking, but then that would have given it away.
Okay, but is the title Let's Get to Work based on some type of mission or assignment? Or is that just something that we're just saying, let's get to work? Or is there something here that's telling people you can take on some type of job? An assignment?
Yeah, I mean, the other thing could be the municipal works.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the whole thing with the rock cracker is you got to get the machine online. So I think that's what we're seeing is you got to do all the puzzles to get the machine online,
And it's noticed, I think these last couple shots they've done of this, they've been people together. It's not a singular person. They've been putting out these recent things with two people that are working together, it seems like, to do something. Okay. All right. So we'll see what that's going to be. Very cool. Alrighty, gang. That's the first half of our show, and we are we're doing okay on our time, I guess. Hopefully you guys will be able to stick around tonight. We're going to get ready to take our commercial break for 1 minute, and then we're going to have a 4-minute break where the group and you guys can take a break, get something to drink, some snacks or whatever. And then when you come back, make sure you come back to the beginning because there's some great comedy clips that fastcart has collected over the last couple of years that you will enjoy. And then we're going to kick off our show today just asking some of our co-hosts questions about Star Citizen over the last 6 years and where we're going in the future. So yes, and we have giveaways too. Yes, so we're going to take a break. We'll be right back, and we'll see you guys in a couple minutes. Okay.